Hello, everybody. It's George from Ireland. Welcome back to my channel. Anyway, so she's done it. It's official now. Kamala Harris got the delegates, and they'll just go through the ceremony on Monday, the Democratic convention. She's the presidential nominee. The big reveal is who's going to be her running mate. I mean, Josh Shapiro. That's who I think it's going to be. Many people say that. There are various other people. Most of the governors, actually, of North Carolina is another possibility who she select as a running mate. Um, Now, Gavin Newsom would be excellent in some ways, but the trouble is he's from the same state as her, and that's constitutionally prohibited. Right. So up until now, it was a virtual certainty, but now it's an actual certainty. And since about a fortnight ago, when Joe Biden suddenly dropped out, the surprising thing has been the unanimity with which she was endorsed by the Democratic Party. There were many reasons to keep Biden as their candidate. First of all, incumbency. He's a sitting president. 75% of the time, when a sitting president seeks re-election, he wins. Of course, those who are likely to lose are the ones who drop out, like Biden. So that incumbency factor is possibly exaggerated. Other thing is, yeah, they could be very messy selecting a replacement. And some people said they can't pick Harris. I thought Kamala Harris was a bad pick because of her abominable approval ratings, but seems to be jumped up. It doesn't make any sense, of course. Why do you think she's a bad vice president would be a good president, as some people do? Because surely president's even more responsible. Um, Partly, familiarity does not breed contempt. People tend to prefer things they know. I can't remember what this effect is called in heuristics, but okay, Kamala Harris, as everybody's heard of her, there's been all this media attention, not entirely positive, but yeah, the day that someone declares for office, his or her rating leaps up, and it's been going on for 2 weeks. Is this a honeymoon? Is it going to evaporate? I think it is. I still think Trump's going to win. Um, I absolutely abominate Trump, but even though he's despicable, there's a lot wrong with Kamala Harris too. Of the two, she's not quite as vile as he is. She's not that dishonest. She's not imbecilic. She's an educated, accomplished person. She's sane, all the rest of it. So Trump is just utterly sickening. Do I think it's undemocratic? Goodness, well, not really. No, I mean, it's up to the party in the convention. I suppose somebody could oppose her. I'm not aware of anybody who's opposing her. Yeah, not having primaries. Okay, they didn't have time to have primaries. About 90 days to go to the election, and you didn't have to vote for the Democrats. So the Democrats' processes is not something to do with the Constitution. That's an internal matter for that party. As I say, I mean, I'd probably vote for the Reform Party of the United States if I were there. Not to say I would like Reform UK. That's completely different. Uh, so there she is, going for it, and has galvanized people. She's brought an energy back to the campaign that just wasn't there, as some Democrats would see, restored the winning spirit. So there's zestiness about the campaign that there wasn't before. It was leaden-footed. It was geriatric. It was grandfatherly, just like Joe Biden himself. And she's turned the tables on Trump because, of course, rather than be the Democrat nominee's health, who is a major problem. There's a big question mark over Trump's own health, being 78, being morbidly obese, having survived COVID, on and on and on. His blatant mental decline, the way his mind is so defogged, as well as his incessant lying. So because she's got the age advantage on him, she doesn't have to pick someone that much younger than her. She could even pick someone slightly older than her. J.D. Vance at 39. I suppose that's meant to balance Trump's age by having someone who's youthful, 40 years his junior. Yeah, so as I say, I think Trump will still make it, for various reasons. I was speaking to someone who's got a doctorate in American politics, a British academic, and I give still a 60% chance of Trump winning. And my friend said that's not unreasonable. Other things, why it's on a knife edge, because okay, if you're tied in the polls, but what about the swing states? And okay, she's ahead in some of those. The other thing is, you got to remember, is the polls, they often overstate the Democrats. The Democrats have difficulty, like the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, persuading their people to vote. If the poll says 50% of people are going to vote, Democrats often a little bit less, like 48%. And partly some laws on voter ID are also depressing the voter turnout. So that's going to be difficult for them as well. And then the media will get more into her. They'll highlight the more negative side of her. As for children's rights, I mean, she is the worst of the worst. There are no circumstances in which she thinks that a baby has any right to life if she or he is in the womb. So, wow, we'll do absolutely nothing for child protection. So, people should realize just how foul this woman is. Supposing a baby is born and is injured, is desperately needing medical care, she says a doctor should not be obliged to try and save that child's life if that baby was born after an attempt to kill that child in utero. Okay, this is failed abortion when they attempt to inject the girl or boy with a deadly substance in the heart to provoke cardiac arrest, but the doctor sometimes sticks the needle in slightly the wrong point because the victim's body is so tiny. So that is how sick that woman is. She's really evil. So if she becomes president, of course, next time a Supreme Court vacancy will come up, she will appoint someone of her own abortionist ilk, and it will be a dark day for justice in the United States. So this will be a death sentence for millions of American children. So yes, and I know it's a state issue, but the Supreme Court still has things that it decides on. It's justiciable whether there is some sort of right to life, or whether and killing children is permissible because it's a so-called private matter. And the federal government still controls it in Washington, D.C., where it's not permitted currently, still controls it in the US military and things like that. Various federal agencies could outlaw some of the deadly poisons which are deployed against kids. So that's why she would be very bad news. Okay, she's not going to be quite as violent towards the Palestinians as Trump is. So that would be a tiny step in the right direction. What else? If she does win the presidency, she'll be first in a number of ways, just like his vice president, the first person of Asian ancestry to hold that office, the first black woman to be president. Obviously, there's been a black man, Barack Obama, first person raised in a faith other than Christianity to become commander in chief, and that's Hinduism. But he's also brought up as a Christian of the Protestant denomination. I can't remember which church, was it Baptist or Methodist? So various things. I'm not sure if she'd be the first person who was Attorney General of a state to hold that office, and so on. So these would be, so far, the only person born, goodness, in 1964 afterwards. Obama's like 3 years older than her. I remember Obama said she was the best looking attorney general there was. It was about 10 years ago, saying, "Oh, that's really sexist." And Obama said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I realized the problems that women face in the workplace." Wow. Wow. Something as neutral as innocent as saying someone was good looking. That's terrible. Has to be absolutely slapped down. But Trump is obviously running scared of her, which is why he's declining to debate. He was spoiling for a fight with Joe Biden. I mean, I think it was a mistake of Joe Biden to debate him, but then again, might have been seen as yellow-bellied had he refused to do so. Since Nixon versus, as he was then, Senator John F. Kennedy, the presidential candidates have always debated each other, which obviously they're not constitutionally obliged to. But as Biden himself said, it's hard to debate someone who's a pathological liar. And it was in the debates when Biden's mental decline became blatant, which obviously precipitated his dropping out of the race. So yeah, we'll see who her vice presidential pick is. I expect she's going to announce that name next week. I remember we think it was Tim Kaine for Hillary Clinton, who appeared to have no effect on the election whatsoever. Was quite a dull person. People say, "Oh, your vice presidential pick never helps you, just simply make sure it doesn't hurt you." I don't think it's quite true. Sometimes it is a bit of a boost, actually. And Tim Kaine, I don't see how he was an asset to the Clinton campaign whatsoever. Right. Thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate on PayPal. Goodbye.